You are an energetic being first and foremost, so the quality of your energy field is really important. It works like a filter, each part of the field enabling or preventing whatever is turning up in your life. This is the Future Self Energetics Show. I'm your host, Amanda Nelson, and I work in the body, mind and spirits community. I'm an award-winning master energist. That's a therapist that specialises in improving the quality of the energy fields that move in, through and around your body. If you want anything in your life to change, you have to begin with changing your energy field first. So my shows are a mixture of talk and therapy ideas, interviews and thought-provoking inspiration. They're all about energy fields, protection and connection. If there's a topic you'd love me to cover in my show, please email me, amanda@futureselfenergetics.com. And if you love the show here on UK Health Radio, please spread the word about it in your networks. I'm taking a more mindful approach to planning and planting my garden this year. I'm still excited about the different plants, trees, flowers and herbs that I want to cultivate. Still, I'm also incorporating practices into my gardening that support the land I steward and build a stronger relationship with the elementals and other living beings that inhabit that green space. My name is Amanda Nelson. I'm the Master Energist, and this is the Future Self Energetics Show on UK Health Radio. I invite you to the start of this garden journey with me on the show today. Hopefully it will inspire you to approach your gardening practices mindfully too. I'm creating an elemental garden. I intend to create a haven with nature's guardian spirits in mind. I'm on a journey to see the effects on my garden when I'm gardening more mindfully, and I'm deliberately taking steps to work in new ways with the energies that flow in, through and around my garden space. Will the results be better? Will they be worse? Or not much, if at all, of a discernible difference? Well, I don't know. I'll be able to answer that question in the autumn when the verdict is in. While I feel that I own my garden, I have a certificate that I share with my husband that tells me I do. It's actually important to remember that I am one of many caretakers of that land. I'm one amongst many visitors to that space. And every year I begin by thinking of how much growing space I have for fruit and flowers and vegetables, plus areas for sitting and relaxation, of course. And I always take the time to mindfully select plant varieties from the seed catalogues that have been passed down from generation to generation. Those are the open pollinated heirloom varieties. And I also try my best to work harmoniously with the land that I till. And each year I've done this, incrementally doing more and more to align myself with the bit of space at the rear of my property. One year I learned to make provision for the insects and made provision for them in the plants that I grew especially. And another year I began to create my own natural soil conditioners and soil enhancers. It took a little time with the help of a worm farm and a bokashi bin, but now I convert pretty much most of my kitchen scraps into worm and bokashi food, and that reduces landfill, and eventually it comes out of the worm bin and the bokashi bins as amendments that I can place on the soil to build up the biodiversity in my soil. Well, I thought, what should I be doing next? Well, this year I'm reconnecting with the elementals. I'm creating an elemental garden, an elemental friendly garden, creating a haven for nature's guardian spirits. If I joined forces with them, I thought, would there be a noticeable impact on how the garden feels and thrives? So it's vital for humans to recognise and respect the interconnectedness of all living beings in the natural world, and to approach gardening in a way that's sustainable and respectful to the natural environment and to the elementals that are already living there. They're already making a contribution there. They're already sharing these spaces with us. Now my son, he's thinking of growing vegetables for the first time this year. He's just bought a house of his own. It's got a small garden. And he said he was excited about it and yet apprehensive at the same time. I don't know how to grow any of it, he told me when we were talking about things that he might like to grow to eat. I replied, look, Mother Nature's been doing pretty well on its own for the last sort of 20,000 odd years. These plants know what to do. Your role is to support and enable them, and to work with the energies that already have a wealth of knowledge to give everything the best chance. As humans, we need to remember that our actions do and have been having a significant impact on the natural world. And that also then includes having some form of impact on the elemental beings that inhabit it. By being mindful of our impact and working harmoniously with the elementals, we can then create much more sustainable, balanced ecosystems that will ultimately benefit everyone. The natural world and the elementals that inhabit it operate by their own laws, and they don't have the same concept of ownership as humans do. So instead they see the garden as a part of the larger ecosystem they share with everything else. And by recognising this interconnectedness and working in harmony with the natural and elemental world, we're able to create a much more sustainable and harmonious future for everyone too. Showing respect and gratitude for the natural and elemental world is critical to creating that sustainable space in the garden. Well, that's what I feel anyway. So I'm deliberately choosing to build a mindset that involves practices such as giving thanks to the land before planting or harvesting, honouring the spirits and elementals that inhabit the garden alongside me by allowing nature to work in the way that suits it best. And I'll be inviting elementals to feel comfortable about working with me and spending time with me and revealing their presence to me to enable me to grow my garden even more naturally and allowing it to better reflect the best expression of whatever contribution I can bring to it as an ambassador of the human race. I think by approaching our garden spaces with this deep sense of respect and reverence, each one of us can create a deeper connection to the natural world, and we can foster a sense of reciprocity and mutual benefit between ourselves and the land. Reciprocity and mutual benefit are essential when you are creating a harmonious relationship with the natural and elemental world in a garden. By giving back as much as you take, all parties in a relationship gain something positive from that relationship. Acknowledging the value of the contribution that each and every contributor makes is essential. So I need to consider giving back more than I receive. So in a garden, reciprocity means sustainable practices that give back to the land, not only take from it. It can also mean sharing the bounty of a garden that you might not normally share with the wildlife and the elementals that call it home. Maybe I should begin to leave a portion of the harvest for them to also enjoy. I know a blackbird in my garden that would be very welcome for me to take the nets off the last of the strawberries at the end of the season. Maybe the last part of a row of anything I grow, rather than covering it up, might be something nice to leave to the birds. Maybe I should plant specific plants that benefit them entirely. Maybe what I should do is plant a whole raspberry cane area in my garden and really not for it to be for me or my family at all. That's worth thinking about. So creating a diverse and healthy ecosystem in the garden, one that supports the needs of all its inhabitants, including the plants, including the animals, including the elementals, and including me, of course, well, that's on my drawing board this year. Ultimately, we can all create a more harmonious and sustainable future for ourselves by recognising our interconnectedness, with the nature and with the elemental world that's a part of it. And if we work together in a mutually beneficial way, if we look after that relationship, it will look after us back.
UK Health Radio, the station that makes you feel good. UK Health Radio, the station that makes you feel good.
So I've been thinking this through. Building a relationship with the elementals in my garden is the task for this year for me then. I want to create a harmonious environment that benefits all parties by acknowledging and respecting their presence. My approach is going to include the following. I'm going to leave offerings for the elementals. I'm going to meditate and openly communicate with them. And I'm going to design my garden to support them and their needs just as much as mine. And I'm going to be doing all these things in my garden this year, and I'm planning it at the moment. So who or what actually are these elementals then? How can you connect with them? And what can you do to let them know that you honour them in your growing spaces? Well, there are 4 elementals that I know of. There's the earth elementals, air elementals, fire elementals, and the water elementals. And I thought I'd go through each one of them in turn actually and tell you about some of the thoughts that I've been having about how I can make them feel very welcome in the garden. I know they're already there, but what I'm trying to do is express to them that I'm honouring them, respecting them, that I'd really like to connect with them. I'd like to learn from them. I'd like to work with them. I'd like to be constructive and harmonious with them. I'd like to bring balance into the garden and create a space where everybody knows that they're welcome. So the earth elements first then. These earth elementals, these are energetic beings that are associated, as the name would suggest, with the earth element, and they're often depicted as gnome-like creatures that live underground and protect the plants and animals of the garden. I work a lot with gnomes actually. I always say you know where you are with a gnome. They come across as quite serious when you're working with them, and they're quite suspicious of human beings. They think that, you know, human beings are stepping on their toes in the natural world. I already know that they're the garden's genetic engineers and also in some ways the project managers of what takes place in the garden. And human beings have most definitely started to change the land in a way that they want it to be, and also started to engineer plants to suit their purposes as well. So I think the gnomes feel a little bit like humans have trodden on their toes. I mean, I've spent time with gnomes and they are big on the need for humans to really re-engage with respect for the land and all its living beings. And we should honour all the elementals, but if you're gardening in a pot or on a plot or an allotment, then the gnomes are the best connection, I think, to make first. If you can win over the gnomes, it's fairly easy to win over the other elementals. So earth elementals are often depicted, as I said, as these gnome-like creatures that live underground and protect the plants and animals of the garden. They're responsible for nurturing the soil and maintaining its fertility, and that in turn supports all the growth and health of the plants in the garden. You don't grow a plant, you actually grow the soil. There are also these gnomes, or these earth elementals. They're believed to be protectors of the natural world and have a deep connection to the earth and its ancient energies. Now, earth elementals are also considered guardians of the mineral kingdom too. They're said to be able to manipulate the minerals and crystals found in the soil. I used to leave shiny old-fashioned pennies in the garden as gifts for the gnomes. I'm sure it's one of the reasons why I have such a connection to them. They're also these earth elementals. They're believed to be able to communicate with animals and plants. And they have a particular affinity, I think, for herbs and flowers, especially those that have long roots that reach right below the surface. So in modern times, earth elementals are often those at the forefront of calling out for sustainability, and the need to protect the natural environment. And many people believe that working with those earth elementals and cultivating a relationship with the earth can help restore balance and harmony to the natural world, and I definitely feel like I'm part of that movement. So encouraging earth elementals to connect with you in your garden is all about demonstrating your wish to communicate with them and creating a welcoming and nurturing environment. Here are some of the tips on how I intend to do this. So, earth elementals are said to be responsible for nurturing the soil. So I need to be responsible for nurturing the soil too. So creating healthy and fertile soil is going to be an essential step in attracting these elementals to the garden and to working alongside you. So I'm going to use organic fertilizers. I'm going to use the best compost that I can find and other natural soil amendments like those from the Bokashi bin and the worm farm. And I'm going to create a nutrient-rich soil that supports plant growth and health, because that's what the gnomes do. I'm sure they're going to guide me. And as I said before, they have an affinity for herbs and flowers. So planting a diverse range of plants in the garden will really help attract these spirits. Lots of different ones, and planting them all in amongst each other. I think the gnomes would like that. So I'm going to choose plants that are native to my area, the ones that have been here for eons, and that provide food and shelter for local wildlife as well. I like the idea of nettles, comfrey, but I'm sure there's a lot more. Earth elementals, because they're associated with the earth element, it would seem that only soil is what, and what grows in it is what we should focus upon. But actually they also have a water connection. Providing water sources, such as a bird bath or a small pond in the garden, can actually help to create a welcoming environment for elemental spirits. Tick, I've already done both of those things. So earth elementals, I mentioned that they were guardians of the natural world. So I have to become one of those too. I'm going to practice sustainable gardening practices that use natural pest control. So I'm going to get ladybird attracting flowers so that I attract ladybirds, and then the ladybirds can munch on any aphids or black flies that the ants happen to have put around the garden. I think that's a natural pest control method that would really work. I'm not going to use any synthetic fertilizers or pesticides anymore, and I'm only going to plant species in the garden that support the local ecosystem of it. I'm going to incorporate natural materials, so I'm going to bring in stone, wood, not much plastic or that sort of thing. And I'm going to put plants in the garden design that create a sense of balance and harmony and attract earth elementals. They need places to hide. They need places to live. They like bushes and small trees. They like overhanging spaces so that they can peep out and watch what you're doing. They love browns and greens and beiges. So I'm going to bring all of these things into my planting and into my landscaping and into my hardscaping materials as well. I think most of all, I believe that earth elementals are energetic beings that require respect and gratitude. Please respect the natural world by practicing sustainable gardening practices and thanking the earth's elementals for their service and the earth for its bounty.
The station that makes you feel good. UK Health Radio. The station that makes you feel good.
I'm creating an elemental-friendly garden. I'm creating a haven with nature's guardian spirits in mind. And on my show for UK Health Radio today, I'm sharing with you some of the ideas that I've been having in order to achieve just that. Let's move on to the air elementals then. Now you might know air elementals by more common names like sylphs or fairies. These are the energetic winged beings that are associated with the air element, and they are responsible for pollinating the plants and for spreading plant seeds throughout the garden. I'm not sure if I like that or not. I often find seeds they sort of sprout into little plants that I wasn't expecting to be where they've been placed. But you know, if the air elementals see a patch of soil that's not being worked, they're going to ensure it's productive super fast. It's not always down to what I want to grow in my garden. I mean, look outside at the moment. Here we are in early May, and watch these dandelion clocks. Watch the air elementals lifting the dandelion clock seeds into the air at the moment. I find it annoying to see the seeds in flight, but actually I'm also starting to see it in a different way. What a wonderful display of airborne abundance it is. Now, in some traditions, air elementals are considered messengers, and I really get this about them because they are able to create freedom in the mind, and they put us into humans, I'm saying. They put human beings into a sort of a dream and visionary kind of state. They protect us. They're said to guide those who are lost or in need of direction. So if we put all of that together, can you imagine as you work with plants and you work in your garden and you connect with the air elementals, what they're going to do is they're going to free up your mind and cultivate relationships in your mind that are creative, cultivating relationships in your mind that are intuitive, cultivating relationships in your mind that feel free. This is how it feels when you garden. You slip into a different kind of mental frame. I'm sure this is where those air elementals come close to us, partly to see what we're doing, but also to give us the benefit of their connection with us. So they're really powerful allies, I think, both in the garden and also in our health. Encouraging air elementals into the garden is a matter simply of creating a welcoming and open environment for them. Something that's conducive to air movement. So here are some of the things that I'm going to be doing, some of the things that I intend to do in my garden space. So air elementals are associated with the air element. So creating an open, airy space is going to be essential in the garden. I'm choosing plants with an open and flowering form, like lavender and rosemary, and I'm leaving some dandelions on the ground. I'm choosing anything that looks like butterflies, for example. Any flowers that look like butterflies would like to come and sit on them and take a well-earned break. You know, they need a landing pad like those provided by some of the old-fashioned flowers like the open marigolds or the pretty cosmos. Air elementals are also attracted to movement and light, so using features in the garden like wind chimes or mobiles can help. That would create a really nice welcoming environment for these spirits. And because air elementals love to express the movement of the breeze through the garden, I need to increasingly add more and more things into the garden that actually reflect that movement. Things like those wind chimes, maybe some flags. I could include flags if I like, and also flowers and grasses that seem to pick up the motion of the air and reflect it in how they move as the breeze moves through their leaves and past the flowers. I think that's going to create a beautiful sense of flow and movement in my garden. What do you think about yours? So whilst air elementals are associated with the air element, they also as well have a water connection. So if you provide a small fountain, like a little solar fountain or some other kind of water feature, that helps create a really calming and relaxing environment that welcomes in these spirits. They quite like it. They like quite still water. And also they like scent Air elementals, they're actually attracted to scents. So using fragrant plants or maybe even essential oils on those flags that you're putting out in the garden, they can help create a welcoming environment for these spirits. I expect that sweet peas, for example, tick every single box. They would be lovely. But if you can't grow sweet peas for any reason, so would, at a push, burning fragrant incense. Like all other elementals, air elementals require respect and gratitude. Please respect the natural world and practice sustainable gardening practices and thank the air for its refreshing qualities. Pure, clean air is a gift, that's for sure. So encouraging air elementals to connect with you in your garden is about demonstrating clearly, intentionally, your wish to communicate with them and enabling them to know that they are absolutely unconditionally welcome and that you would like them to come close to you and that you intend to be creating a very nurturing environment for them. I'm looking forward to connecting with the air elementals because of how beautifully nurturing, calming and healthful they make me feel. Next then to the fire elementals. Fire elementals are said to protect a garden from pests and diseases. I have a south-facing back garden and I have a lot of these fire elementals in my plot of land. And I know this because I don't get many pests or diseases on my plants. They just don't seem to want to come in. Fire elementals are energetic beings associated with the element of fire, and they're often depicted as active and passionate beings attracted to fire's warmth and radiating their vitality. In many cultures, fire is associated with creativity, passion, driving forces, transformation. And fire elementals are often seen as spirits embodying these qualities. And they range from small and playful little sprites to powerful, fearsome creatures, the dragons or the salamanders. They are often associated with the natural world too. It's not only with beasts or beings. And they are said to inhabit areas where fire energy is prevalent. So think about the centre of a volcano. Think about what it would be to be the vast desert. Fire elementals are associated with cycles. They're associated with cycles of transformation and rebirth and death and decay and transformation and rebirth and death and decay, which is actually what the seasons are. So encouraging fire elementals into your garden can be done really easily. You just create warm, sunny and vibrant environments for them. Here's some things that I'm going to be doing to enable the fire elementals that are already in my garden to feel at home. So I'm going to introduce some warm colours in the plants I'm choosing, like the furniture that I'm putting in the garden. Fire elementals, they like warm, fiery colours. So reds, oranges, yellows. Use these colours in your garden by planting, splashes of crocosmia, zinnias, sunflowers, ruby red poppies, vegetables like chili peppers, or other flowers like red hot pokers. You might know them as torch lilies. All add to your message. Here it is safe. Fire elementals are welcome. Fire elementals thrive in warm, sunny environments, so ensure your garden receives plenty of sunlight in at least one area. Clear any obstructions that might block the sun or cast too much shade on the garden. Consider planting trees or tall shrubs that provide some shade, but that don't block the sun completely. It's all hard to miss in my south-facing plot. I've had to introduce things in order to just give some shady areas. But think about your space. Does the sun hit the soil? Is there somewhere where it could be warm in your garden? You can also use fire pits. Candles, lanterns in the garden. I do this in the evening and it creates a fantastic feeling in the space, a kind of magical kind of ambience. Fire elementals are also attracted to the fire, so using candles and lanterns in your garden will help create that welcoming environment for these energetic spirits to come and sit alongside you after a long day draws to a close. They also like quite spicy scents, so fire elementals are attracted to things like cinnamon, clove, ginger, and if you have those around you in a diffuser or perhaps in tea that you're drinking, well, that will create a welcoming environment for these spirits as well. As with the others, show respect and gratitude. Fire elementals are energetic beings that require respect. They require consideration and appreciation as well. It's no problem with fire elementals. You just have to remember, don't play with fire. Finally then, the water elementals. I'm creating an elemental friendly garden, and so all elementals are welcome. I'm trying to create a haven with nature's guardian spirits in mind. So water elementals are energetic beings that are associated with the water element, and they are said to bring rain and moisture to the garden. And they are often seen as mermaids or water sprites, and they live in garden fountains or near the ponds or other water features that you introduced. They also love watering cans full of rainwater harvested from the rain barrels. In my experience, I've found one or two of them sitting amongst those. Now I have 3 rain barrels already, so that's all right. I won't be running out of water anytime soon. Now these elementals are very fluid and adaptable beings, and they're attracted to water's dynamic and ever-changing qualities. One day water can be in a raindrop, the next it can be snow, the next it can be part of a fountain or something you cook with. Water changes and moves and is able to transform. It can be steam, it can be ice, it can be fluid. And water is associated with our emotions, our intuition, our spirituality. Water elementals are often seen as energetic beings then that embody these qualities of emotionality, intuition and spirituality. And they can take on many forms, ranging from the playful and mischievous kind of sprites to big, powerful and majestic creatures. They're often associated with bodies of water, large like oceans, flowing like rivers, still and thoughtful like lakes. So including any kind of water feature in the garden is going to help attract these energetic beings. Maybe you could put together a small solar-powered fountain. It doesn't have to be too sophisticated. Just something, whether it's a fountain or a bird bath or 2, maybe even a tiny pond, if it's safe for you to put one of those in your garden space. Water elementals are associated with blues and greens. They're about calm and nurturing. And this is a stark contrast to the hot fire elementals flowers, isn't it? So put them in different parts of the garden. Use these watery colours, these calming, nurturing colours in your garden by planting blue flowers, forget-me-nots, bluebells, delphiniums, green plants like ferns and hostas. And they also like scent, but they like scents like lavender and jasmine and rose. And these scents, lavender, jasmine and rose, are well known to create calming and nurturing environments in our home, in our gardens. If you've ever used those as essential oils, you will know that that's one of the properties that they are revered for the most. Show respect and gratitude to the water elementals. Thank the water that comes in to your life for its life-giving properties. Thank you for the rain, even if it means you can't sit outside and have a cuppa. Thank you for the rain. Well, actually, you can sit outside even when it's raining. That's another limiting belief I have to work on. But thank you. Thank you for the rain. Thank you for the rain that falls effortlessly from the sky and comes to water my garden and gives me an evening off. Thank you for the rain that pours down the roof and into the rain barrels that I have. That means that I have water on hand for when the plants might need it. I love the idea of creating a peaceful environment in a water-filled space. You know, soft lighting feels watery. Comfortable seating feels watery. Gentle sounds like small tingly wind chimes of an evening or soft music, that also feels watery as well. I'm growing really fond of how my garden plan is taking shape this year, and I'm going to observe and explore which elementals are drawn into my garden. I'm going to make provision for all of them and make sure that there's good balance in the space. And I'm really interesting to see what type of garden design is going to most appeal to them moving forward. I'm more than happy to make choices based on things that will support them and the efforts that they're contributing to the garden. I'm going to consciously thank all of the different elementals for their service and for the earth for its bounty that it will bring. And I'm going to connect with these elementals in a way that I haven't done before. In my garden, there is room for all of us. All elementals are welcome and they deserve respect and gratitude. I'll be showing respect for the natural world by practicing sustainable gardening, making my garden space a place where all elementals feel welcome and that their work is respected. I'm creating an elemental-friendly garden, a haven with nature's guardian spirits in mind. That's it for another show this week. I'm thrilled that you dropped by. I present Future Self Energetic Show every week for UK Health Radio, and I'd be delighted to spend more time with you next week, so do tune in. The world of energy is amazing and it's magical and it's mysterious, and there's always so much for us to explore about it. You have a vital connection to a web of energy fields around you. Use that connection for your benefit. I've been working with vibrational energetics all my life, and I know that when you improve your energy field, you can up-level any part of your life. You can find out more about me, my courses and Future Self Energetics at my lifestyle website, beyondthegoldenegg.com. I'm also on Twitter. You can find me at Ask Amanda Nelson. Focus on the quality of the energy in your energy field. Focus on your entire energy field every single